Guidance counselor discusses main challenges that students face when they move to the Netherlands. Representatives from the VWS are on the island to review COVID-19 vaccination plans. And a member of the AntiPoverty Platform says that all unions are expressing their concerns about Carnival 2021. Those are the headlines for Thursday, January 21st, 2021. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, the news about Carnival 2021 is again taking center stage. This time, it is with the unions on the island. Member of the AntiPoverty Platform, Mrs. Claire Elshot, speaking at their weekly press briefing earlier today, has questioned the SCDF as to why they are not canceling Carnival 2021. Mrs. Elshot says that all of the unions are expressing their concerns that the Council of Ministers are considering giving their approval for Carnival to be held this year amid the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the union members, with the pandemic, they are viewing this as being irresponsible and not taking into account the risk factors that frontline and all workers will be exposed to.
The presidents of the unions, NAPB, APFO St. Martin, Wikua, Waiful Asewi, and Y2 at the agenda point Carnival 2020 expressed their concerns related to the fact that the Council of Ministers has approved and given the green light for Carnival 2021 to be held on St. Martin. The concerns expressed were not only because this decision was taken without consultation or dialogue with the unions, but the analysis was made based on, among others, the reality that we are living in with the COVID-19 pandemic and the threats of new viruses. As unions, this decision was viewed as irresponsible and not taking into account the risk factors that the frontline workers, all workers, and the whole population of St. Martin, Dutch and French, will be exposed to. It goes without saying that the unions cannot remain silent on this issue since as unions, the health and safety of the population and the workers are our concerns. During this pandemic that has affected the whole world, our leaders should act in consultations with tripartite committees before making such decisions that can have far-reaching consequences. What one might seem to look at this event as an economic boost for the island, which will have a higher cost on the health, and it will take a toll on the rise of cases, whether asymptomatic or COVID active. Therefore, as unions in the WICLU, we are calling on the Minister of VSA and the Council of Ministers on its whole to review and reverse this decision. The whole Carnival, so not only the parades, cannot happen without the frontline workers, and in our view as unions, the pressure, risk, and stress on these workers will also affect the day-to-day operation of all departments. Even to the schools will be affected, as have been the case since the reopening of the school year with face-to-face attendance. A number of schools were forced to continue online classes and quarantine staff members and students after the reopening took place. So, this would also be the case for the other departments. The questions are, number one, based on the set norms of prohibiting large gatherings, shouldn't Carnival fall in that same category? Number two, are we prepared or do we have the means to handle the health issue and the consequences of this, of having Carnival? Number three, what are the financial benefits and for who? Because since for years, a number of years, this event was heavily financially supported by government. Is it so that all of a sudden the Carnival Committee can host this event on its own financial strength? Number four, the question should be, who you all for? Is it so that all at once the health and safety of the people and their families doesn't matter?
And SXM Daily News is expected to have the president of the SCDF in our studios tomorrow. Meanwhile, speaking at the Council of Ministers' weekly press briefing on Wednesday, Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Sylvia Jacobs, fielded a question about social distancing in bars, churches, and other venues of entertainment. The Prime Minister said that they have stepped up controls and they are monitoring the infection levels. They are not seeing that it has become unmanageable. However, social distancing has always been recommended and masks should be worn at all times.
Social distancing, as you know, has been recommended of 1.5 to 2 meters in bars and in restaurants, etc. The person serving you must wear a mask at all times. The persons who are in the venues are allowed to remove it to eat and drink, but should be, when moving around, wearing their masks. Is it completely adhered to? I cannot ascertain. I am not a person that puts myself in closed up areas that are too full. When I walk into a restaurant, persons put on their masks. So I don't know if it's because they see me or because they know that's the regulation. We have stepped up controls in that regard as well. And this is one of the reasons over the past few months, we as government have allowed more and more to take place and monitor the outbreak or the infection level. And even as we moved our times that the businesses are open from 10 to 12 to 2 a.m., we have not seen that it has become unmanageable. So in certain areas, social distancing is not, let's say, manageable, and definitely not enclosed in areas. We are looking at ensuring that we can put the necessary legislation in place to mandate that. What we have been doing is based on the protocols that businesses have, like say, to reopen after the de-escalation of our lockdown, is in upholding those. So our controllers, TEAT, VSR, police, continue to monitor the situation. And where churches are concerned, I will have to check with the Ministry of VSR whether they are being asked to uphold the very strict protocols we had right after the lockdown. I'm not sure at this moment whether that is being upheld, but we do know that when you are within 2 meters of someone, that you must wear a mask. You must wear a mask, and that is what we have been promoting and will continue to promote. So if the churches would readjust, of course, in discussion with the Ministry of VSR, it is then, for them to go back and check if that is not possible. But according to me, once you are within 2 meters of each other, you must wear a mask. And that can assure the safety of yourself as well as those in your vicinity.
And now in news from the police blotter, the police are continuing their investigation into the shooting that took place on July the 27th, 2020, where a man lost his life on the Hyssop Road in Cahill. During the investigation, it emerged that a second person must have been involved in the shooting. On Tuesday, January the 12th, the detective department arrested the first suspect with the initials MR in connection with the fatal shooting, which resulted in the death of JBA. After the arrest of the suspect, MA, a search of the suspect's home was carried out. In the house of the suspect, various items, such as a firearm, were seized. While investigating the confiscated goods, it would appear that other persons should have more information on what exactly took place on Hyssop Road on the night of July the 27th, 2020. Now, even though this comprehensive investigation is still slowly progressing, the Detective Department is requesting the public to provide any additional information that can serve to help solving this case. The investigating team can be reached on 542-2222, extension 105, 210, or 219, or by calling the anonymous tip line on 9300 free of charge. You can also visit the website at www.policesxm.sx to report crimes anonymously via the tip contact form, or you can leave a private message via their Facebook page, Police Force of St. Martin - Corps Politie St. Martin, if you know or suspect something. The investigation is still ongoing. And still to come, member of the AntiPoverty Platform is still awaiting an answer from SZV regarding the 11% increase of the old age pension. I'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns. Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue now in other news, Minister of Health, the Honorable Richard Pandeflek, elaborated on Wednesday last at the Council of Ministers weekly press briefing on the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine. The minister said that this week, representatives from the VWS are on the island to review COVID-19 vaccination plans.
This week, representatives from the VWS, the Dutch Health Ministry, are on the island to meet with the Ministry of VSA representatives to review our COVID-19 vaccination plans, as preparation has been underway for the past month. CPS and the Department of Public Health have had in-depth feedback on the plans, and areas for improvement were highlighted. Over the coming weeks, both departments will finalize the plan to ensure that St. Martin is ready to receive vaccines in mid-February. A cold chain training was held with various healthcare stakeholders and members of ESF6 in order to prepare for the vaccine arrival. I will be having a meeting with the head of the delegation today to discuss the visit, their findings, recommendations, and next steps. In brief, I am pleased to let the public know that we received the freezers for both Pfizer and Moderna vaccine earlier this week. I would like to commend the person who have contacted CPS and continue to encourage persons to come forward and call your general practitioner or CPS at 914 if you are experiencing any signs or symptoms that may be related to COVID. If you have been placed in quarantine or isolation, I urge you to follow the advice of CPS and remain at home. Adhere is crucial in efforts to reduce further spread of the virus on St. Martin. I would like to express words of thanks to CPS, who had worked tirelessly for the free drive-through testing campaign. Your dedication to make our environment a healthy one to live in does not go unnoticed. In closing, please remember to wash or sanitize your hands frequently, maintain a social distance of at least 2 meters, wear a mask when in public places, and refrain from attending large gatherings.
And now in this local COVID-19 update, as of January the 20th, there were 26 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, 19 persons have recovered, bringing the total active cases to 134. The total number of confirmed cases is now 1,703. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 133 people in home isolation. One patient remains hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 27. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 1,542. 233 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS. The Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Airport Health Team, in collaboration with the Healthcare Laboratory St. Martin, HCLS, have tested 2,252 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport, while CPS has tested 13,533 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. Minister of Health urges everyone to remain vigilant when in public places. COVID-19 is still very active in our community, and everyone must do their part to keep our cases down. Now, member of the AntiPoverty Platform, Dr. Anders Remus-Jesseroen, speaking at their weekly briefing earlier today, Thursday, says that he is still awaiting an answer from SZV regarding the 11% increase on the old age pension amount and the accumulated increase that has not been paid since July the 1st, 2020. Mr. Jesseroen is asking, when will it be paid out?
Daily Herald of Tuesday, January the 17th. SZV finally announced the 2021 maximum old age pension amounts. These amounts went into effect as of the 1st of July last year, when the National Ordinance of the AOV benefits was amended, and the pensionable age was increased from 62 to 65. 7 months delay to pay. It took SZV 7 months to start to announce that starting February the 11th, increase of the social pensions will be paid, and that the accumulated increase not paid since July last year will also be paid out. We thank the press for covering this issue that we raised as our first item in our first weekly press conference of this year, 2021. We are also very grateful for the editorial in the Daily Herald of Wednesday, January the 13th, 2021, under the heading, Waiting in Vain. All of this questioning has led to the ads and the press release of SZV announcing the start of the 11% increase and the retroactive payment of the increase until July 2020. No indexation 2021. Since annually in the month of January the pension amounts have to be indexed, we do not understand why our parliamentarians have legislated no indexation in January 2021 in Article 6 of the ordinance. We all have experienced how the COVID pandemic has raised the cost of living in St. Martin. Income tax consequences for 2021. Normally, the 7 months income increase of 2020, including the bonus increase, would have to be mentioned for income tax in 2020. By paying out this accumulated benefit in 2021 means less income for the senior and more income tax for government. Who will cover this extra tax to be paid? It wasn't income of 2021, but of 2020. It is not the senior who has to be punished for waiting to receive the lawful increase. Who will compensate the senior who has now to pay a higher income tax in 2021? The SZV, the Ministry of ASR, the Council of Ministers, or Parliament? Social allowance consequences. The seniors who got an additional social allowance because they had a cut in the old age pension in 2020, do they have to pay back part of the social allowance received now that SZV is paying them the 11% increase of their pension amount? We don't want to get another scandal in the kingdom as the one with the child allowance in the Netherlands, where people were forced to pay back amounts received. Inequality in the kingdom. In the Netherlands, a senior citizen, as per January of this year, gets a maximum old age pension of minimal €1,292, which is equivalent to 2,818 guilders. A social allowance in the Netherlands, as per January the 1st, is €1,075, equivalent to 2,345 guilders. Our maximum old age pension amount of 1,240 guilders is not even half of what a senior gets in the Netherlands as old age pension or as complementing social allowance. And then to realize that these amounts in the Netherlands are indexed and adjusted to the cost of living increase twice a year in January and July. All of this for the senior citizen not to be in poverty. Why our seniors as citizens in the same kingdom of the Netherlands cannot get the same treatment as in the Netherlands? Look how seniors on the northern side get the same treatment as in France. An argument very often heard to defend the discrimination in old age pensions and social allowances for our seniors in the southern side of Swaliga, with the seniors on the northern side and the seniors in the European administrations over the Atlantic Ocean, is our constitutional status, which differs.
Now, turning to our weather forecast for January the 21st, 2021, a weakened Atlantic high-pressure system will account for lighter winds. A few patches of low-level moisture drifting with the wind flow could trigger brief passing showers across the local area. Slight to moderate marine conditions are predicted for the next few days as seas continue to subside. So the outlook through Saturday midday, fair to partly cloudy with brief showers. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, guidance counselor discusses main challenges that students face when they move to the Netherlands. We'll have the details of that story with SXM Daily News.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, at the Department of Education's virtual meet and greet, which was held last Sunday, January the 17th, 2021, which was organized by the Department of Education for students who will be traveling to Holland to continue with their tertiary education, guidance counselor Sherwin Ponteflet outlined the guidelines for the transition. According to Mr. Ponteflet, the move comes with many challenges, and the main challenges, according to him, are networking, communication, time management, and the difference in culture.
Every year, our students leave the comfort of their homes and they embark on a journey to the Netherlands. And from the time they reach it, hit the ground running, as we say. The transition from St. Maarten to the Netherlands comes with different challenges, and I plan to just discuss three of the main challenges, three topics. One of them is the challenges students face every day. The other one is the importance of networking, which we lack in some cases, and time management, and why this tactic is very important for the success of students. Next slide, please. When they reach the Netherlands, there's one thing that students always realize, that it's not St. Martin, it's a difference in culture. Difference in culture, you have difference in food, difference in the way people greet each other, difference in how you interact with everyone. And it can be a shock for some. Some students find it interesting, some students tend to go back into their shell. And this is a challenge that all students will have to face and head on. Another one is communication. Sabrina mentioned earlier.
Mr. Ponderford?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you
Yes.
clear.
Yeah. Communication. Sabrina mentioned earlier that communication, especially if you're not proficient in Dutch, you might tend to not want to communicate because you feel, and some people say dumb, but that's also a challenge a lot of students face. And you should not shy away from trying to communicate, even if you're not proficient in the language. Usually students, they understand and you learn to learn the language, or you learn to communicate in different ways. A difference in education. And now in the age of COVID, now everything is online, but the education system is very different up here. And some students do not take that into account. Well, if you never experience it, you will never be able to take it into account, but some students don't take it into account, and it does affect their performance, and they don't know how to cope with those kind of things. That's why learning doing research on how the school works, the curriculum, is very important for your transition into the Netherlands. The topic independence came up, and I think independence is when you think you live on your own, you have to do your own stuff, you have to do your own shopping, groceries, but it's also self-discovery. A lot of students come from high school where they live with their parents, and then when they reach the Netherlands, they discover themselves. So independence is not only about being able to do your daily chores, but to also learn to have the journey of discovering who you are. In the case of responsibilities, you are responsible for yourself. Your mom is not going to do your laundry. You have to cook, and you have to be able to do everything and do your schoolwork at the same time. Budgeting is a very, very strong topic that we try to enforce, because when students reach here, they learn about thuisbezorg. They can just order online, and then instead of cooking, they spend money up front, and then at the end of the month, they don't have enough money for most of their bills. So we also try to employ that budgeting is a very strong topic that we want the students to understand. Mental health is a very broad topic, and I brought it up because this day we are isolated. We have students who are isolated because of COVID-19, and this isolation does cause depression. And sometimes students are not able to reach out, or they don't have the support system to reach out, or they feel like they don't have the support system to reach out. So that's why it's very important that we as guidance counselors have that kind of relationship, that students trust us enough to talk about these issues. Of course, homesickness is also an issue, and also the fear of failure.
And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.